Okay, so you will not believe what just happened with the royals. I'm serious. This is bigger than anything we've seen in ages. Remember all that back and forth, will they, won't they, with Meghan Markle ever coming back into the royal family? Well, Prince William just nuked the entire conversation. I mean, he didn't just say no. He issued this stone-cold official statement in his own name, which is huge, basically saying, yeah, that's not happening. Ever. 19 words. That's all it took to shut the door, bolt it, and probably weld it shut for good measure. No diplomatic fluff, no wiggle room, just a straight-up denial of any future role for Meghan. The fallout was instant. News channels broke into their regular programming, anchors were stammering, and royal commentators were openly shocked. They're saying it's unprecedented for William to step up like this, personally. Usually, it's carefully worded statements from the palace, trying to keep everyone happy. But this was a shot across the bow. Think about it. William has always been the steady one, the responsible one. He lets the institution do the talking. So, when he actually uses his own voice to address something this sensitive, it's serious. It's like he's saying, enough is enough. This is the line and we're not crossing it. Over here in the States, it was just as crazy. My phone was blowing up with alerts. CNN, CBS, everyone was running with it. Prince William confirms no return for Meghan Markle. Boom. Social media went absolutely ballistic. Of course, everyone had an opinion and they were all screaming it at the top of their lungs. The reporters outside Kensington Palace were practically shivering in the cold, but they knew they were witnessing history. One of them said it best. This isn't speculation anymore. This isn't some palace insider whispering rumors. This is William, the future king, putting his foot down. Apparently, inside the palace, everyone was calm, almost too calm. They knew it was coming. They'd been working on the wording, bracing for the storm. But even they had to feel the weight of it, seeing William's name attached to something that changes everything. What's wild is how there were no maybes, no under the current circumstances, none of the usual royal hedging. It was just flat out no pathway for return. That's it, game over. For anyone who remembers the Diana years, the scandals, and the eventual attempts at reconciliation, this is a whole new level of finality. The monarchy usually keeps a little crack in the door, just in case, but William slammed it shut. In the US, where Meghan's always been a bit of a lightning rod, it was even more intense. Morning show hosts were debating whether William was protecting the institution or just being cruel to family. The thing is, regardless of how you feel about Meghan, you can't deny the impact of this. The future king just publicly cut off any chance of her coming back. So what drove William to do this? What pushed him to break his silence and be so direct? Well, it wasn't just one thing. It was months of mounting pressure, a breaking point that even William couldn't ignore anymore. See, back in the fall, things started getting really bad. Kate Middleton, Princess Catherine, was getting hammered in the press. Every time she launched a new initiative, bam, negative articles would pop up suggesting internal conflict or staff drama. And it wasn't just random gossip, it was coordinated. It was like someone was deliberately trying to undermine her work. Catherine finally told William she thought someone was coordinating the attacks. It wasn't organic, it was strategic. And that apparently lit a fire under William. He's fiercely protective of his wife. He's watched her build this reputation based on service and dedication, and he wasn't going to let someone tear it down. And it wasn't just Catherine. King Charles was dealing with his own problems. All the Meghan and Harry drama was sucking up palace resources. The communications team was spending hours responding to false stories, the legal team was dealing with potential lawsuits, and the security team was tracking online threats. Plus, Charles was trying to run the monarchy while dealing with his own health issues. And get this, Charles apparently told one of his aides that he felt trapped, like he couldn't choose between Harry and the monarchy. He wanted to believe things could be fixed, but he couldn't let that hope screw up the whole institution. But the real kicker? Security. In mid-November, the palace got a security briefing that freaked everyone out. Apparently, there was a ton of online activity targeting Catherine. I'm talking threats, misinformation, the whole 9 yards. And the volume of it was insane, like nothing they'd ever seen before for a royal. So William asked the security guys, how much of this is coming from pro-Sussex accounts? And yeah, a lot of it was. I mean, you gotta wonder, right? But it gets even worse. The Foreign Office started getting calls from diplomats in the US, Canada, Australia, all our allies. They were being polite, but the message was clear. The Sussex drama was making the monarchy look unstable. And that was messing with Britain's ability to do its thing on the world stage. One American official straight up told a British counterpart that they weren't sure if the crown was stable enough to be a reliable partner. Ouch. For William, that had to be a gut punch. He knows his job is to keep those international relationships strong, and the Sussex thing was screwing it all up. It wasn't just tabloid headlines anymore. It was a foreign policy problem. Then Princess Anne, who's always been the straight shooter, told William what he needed to hear. She said, "You can't protect everyone. You gotta choose between the person causing the chaos and the institution that serves millions." Cold, but probably true. So, by December, William had all this stuff piling up. Attacks on his wife, stress on his dad, security threats, diplomatic headaches. It was too much. He decided he had to act. The time for hoping things would get better was over. He had to draw a line. It wasn't just a spur-of-the-moment thing, though. The palace had been making decisions for weeks that led up to that statement. First, Anne told William he needed formal boundaries with the Sussexes, not just suggestions. She said without clear rules, every interaction would be a negotiation. Every statement would be dissected. He needed to lay down the law. Then, the palace lawyers did a risk assessment. They said that without a defined relationship, the palace was open to all kinds of problems. Lawsuits, security risks, reputation damage. They basically said, formalize the split or you're asking for trouble. The Foreign Office was the third piece. They made it clear that the Sussex drama was a foreign policy concern and that the government expected it to be resolved. Finally, it came down to William himself. He'd watched Catherine get trashed in the media, he'd seen his dad struggle, and he realized he had to protect his family. He couldn't keep trying to fix things with Harry and Meghan if it was hurting the people he loved. He told Catherine he couldn't fix it and that trying was hurting them. She understood. So they had this emergency summit at Windsor Castle on December 1st. It was just William, Charles, Anne, and Catherine. William said the decision had to be permanent, no going back. Catherine said she knew it would hurt Harry, but William said he had to protect his family. Charles was sad, but Anne said William was doing what he was taught, putting the institution first. Catherine said the language was clear and didn't attack anyone. Charles finally agreed and gave William his support. The next morning, boom, the statement went out. In California, it was 4:48 a.m. when Harry got the notification. He read it in the dark and was devastated. It wasn't the palace talking, it was his brother. Meghan was more measured, but she was still shocked that William had done it so personally. Back in London, the palace went into damage control mode. Communications teams, legal teams, security teams, everyone was working overtime. William went about his day, calm but resolved. Catherine kept her scheduled engagements, but people noticed she seemed lighter. Anne basically said, the statement speaks for itself. Charles was sorrowful but accepting. The British media mostly supported William. The US media was more divided. But everyone agreed that the landscape had changed. It was over. The palace said no more statements would be issued. The matter was closed. So, what does this mean for Meghan? Well, it's huge. She loses security protection, international travel gets harder, and she can't participate in royal events, even with her kids. Financially, it's a blow too. She and Harry have their own income, but the royal ties gave them a certain level of protection and opportunities that are now gone. But maybe the biggest thing is that she can't play the maybe someday card anymore. William has made it clear that there's no way back. She came into the royal family wanting to change it, but she couldn't. And now William has confirmed that she's out for good. It's a reminder that institutions don't bend easily. Meghan didn't bend, and the institution didn't break. William just made it official. It's a hard truth, but sometimes the kindest thing is to stop pretending and accept what is. William wasn't being cruel, he was being clear. The ambiguity was creating chaos, and he ended it. For the monarchy, it's a new way of handling conflict. William chose stability over comfort. For Meghan, it's a chance to define her own path, free from constraints but also without support. It's a cost, but it's also freedom. William has confirmed that Meghan's royal future is over. It's a final verdict. And it's a lesson for all of us to stop hoping for what can't be and start building what can. William did it for the institution. Meghan has to do it for her life. And we all have to do it when we face closed doors. It's about accepting that some separations have to be permanent. The crown has accepted it. The world has to accept it too. Okay, so you're probably wondering what happens next, right? I mean, William drops this bomb and the dust is still settling. What does Meghan actually do? Here's the thing. She's got options. She's not exactly broke, and she's definitely not powerless. She's built a brand, she's got a platform, and she knows how to use it. I think she doubles down on her independence. She goes full-on Hollywood mogul, produces her own content, focuses on her charities, and basically builds an empire that's completely separate from the royal family. She's already got the Netflix deal, right? Expect more of that. More documentaries, maybe some scripted stuff. She'll control the narrative, and that's powerful. Look, she's always been good at playing the victim, and honestly, this just hands her more ammunition. She can paint herself as the strong woman who stood up to the outdated patriarchal monarchy and was punished for it. That'll resonate with a lot of people, especially in the US. The downside? It could backfire. Some people are already tired of the Sussex drama. If she keeps rehashing the past, she risks alienating even her supporters. There's a fine line between telling your story and just complaining. And let's be real, the royal family still holds a lot of cards. They've got centuries of tradition and public goodwill on their side. Meghan's got celebrity, but celebrity fades. The monarchy? It endures. I wouldn't be surprised if she gets more political too. She's already dipped her toe in those waters. Now that she's completely free from royal constraints, she can be more outspoken on the issues she cares about. That could be a smart move, or it could be another way to divide people. Honestly, I think her biggest challenge is going to be finding a way to stay relevant without constantly talking about the royals. She needs to create a new identity for herself, one that's not defined by her relationship with Harry or her time in the palace. That's tough, but it's not impossible. What about Harry? That's the real question mark. He's stuck in the middle, right? He's got loyalty to his wife, but he also has a family back in England. This statement from William puts him in an impossible position. I think he tries to play peacemaker, at least initially. He'll try to smooth things over, to maintain some kind of relationship with his brother and his father. But it's going to be hard. William's message was crystal clear. There's no going back. Eventually, Harry's going to have to choose. He'll have to decide whether his loyalty lies with his wife and her new life, or with his family and the institution he was born into. That's a brutal choice, and it's one that could tear him apart. And what about the kids, Archie and Lilibet? They're the ones I feel bad for. They're caught in the middle of all this family drama, and they don't even know it yet. They're going to grow up with a complicated relationship to the royal family, and that's just sad. Look, this whole thing is a mess. There are no easy answers, and there are no winners. William did what he thought was necessary to protect the monarchy. Meghan's going to do what she thinks is necessary to build her own future. And Harry? He's just trying to survive. The only thing that's certain is that the royal family will never be the same. This is a turning point,